What are some of the dumbest decisions people will make because they put their brains on pause? Let's find out. Starting with number 7, the inappropriate tape. Ivana Williams, a former Mississippi Highway Patrol officer, was fired after allegedly handing out a naughty tape featuring herself and another woman to fellow officers. Like, you gotta be really into yourself to just pass a video around like that unsolicited, you know? And as you might guess, the little stunt blew up in her face. And led to a legal battle where the unnamed woman in the video tried to sue Williams, claiming unauthorized distribution of the video. So Williams is countersuing the other woman as well as the department, insisting that her firing was both retaliatory and discriminatory. The unnamed woman said in her lawsuit that she wasn't aware she was being recorded and that Williams had shared the video without her consent. The video became widely spread when Williams' boyfriend found it on his device, leading to sharing among officers, implying that he may have had something to do with the distribution as well. The unnamed victim said in her lawsuit that she was highly intoxicated during the incident and couldn't recall much of that night. Upon discovery of the video's existence, she demanded its deletion, but it was too late, as it had already been shared all over the place. Williams, active on social media with over 10,000 followers, denied all allegations, insisting that the encounter was consensual and that the video was only shared with one other person, meaning her boyfriend. She argued that her termination was in retaliation for her grievance filed with the Department of Public Safety and claimed gender discrimination. However, 2 male troopers involved were also fired, so that argument doesn't seem to hold much water. In her appeal, Williams argued that her reassignment to Bolivar County from Rankin County, which distanced her from her children, was without explanation. She was then terminated shortly after the reassignment. Williams' appeal claimed there was unprofessional conduct, which is a bit of the pot and kettle, right? And misuse of state property, which she disagrees with, referring to the situation as a she said conflict. The unnamed woman's lawsuit seeks $11 million in damages, while Williams is counterclaiming for $20 million. Both suits are ongoing with no court date set at the time of this video. Williams insists on her innocence and is eager for her day in court to clear her name. But in our opinion, it's not looking real good for her. It's really dumb to us that in today's digital age, where everything can be tracked, someone would risk their career and reputation by passing around inappropriate videos to their colleagues. In one of her posts on Instagram and TikTok in June of 2024, she's offering to make a bikini photo shoot if she gets 1 million followers on TikTok. Clearly she likes the attention. We all have the freedom to make the choices we have in life, but it seems that a lot of people conveniently forget we don't have the freedom to escape the consequences of our choices. Supposedly secretly recording someone and then passing around the video, she was guaranteed to get caught. Number 6, she only had one. Florida woman Courtney Alice Callahan got herself into some trouble on her 28th birthday because, Florida. She was arrested and booked into jail for a DUI after an incident on a highway off-ramp. In the early hours of the morning, a call came in about a white sedan parked on a highway off-ramp with the driver asleep at the wheel. The deputy responding to the scene found the car running and in park. He knocked on the window and woke the driver, later identified as Courtney Callahan. Despite repeated requests to roll down the window, Callahan began pressing the accelerator multiple times, but the car was in park. After several attempts to get her to open the window, the deputy eventually opened the driver's door and asked Callahan to step out. When he asked for her driver's license, insurance, and registration, Callahan fumbled around her car and tried to hand the deputy a pile of cash instead. When asked why she was handing over cash, since it looked like a bribe, she weirdly asked if her cash wasn't an incident. She then said that the officer had asked for her incident, which according to Callahan meant her cash. Yeah, she was drunk. Callahan admitted to having one shot of 1800 tequila after work. She then gave multiple reasons for why she was stopped on the ramp, including being on the phone, a friend being in an incident, whatever that means, and needing to nap because she was tired. She insisted that all her friends were intoxicated, but she wasn't, which is such a drunk thing to say, isn't it? I'm not drunk, you're drunk, sir. She also mentioned that multiple people tried to buy her shots for her birthday, which she clearly refused. However, the deputy said he could smell the strong odor of alcohol on Callahan's breath, which became more pronounced as she spoke. She struggled to maintain a coherent conversation and repeatedly mentioned the word incident. Callahan refused to perform field sobriety exercises, not that that was necessary, and also refused to provide a breath sample. Courtney Alice Callahan was charged with DUI and was booked into jail and was released about 9 hours later, without incident. Number 5. Dangling Around. One hapless thief in Washington state led police on a dramatic chase before ending up stuck on a telephone wire, according to the Vancouver Police Department. Police in Vancouver responded to a call about a suspect breaking into a vehicle and stealing a bunch of stuff. The suspect then apparently went into a nearby yard and allegedly stole a bike. A neighbor witnessed the theft and chased the suspect, later identified as Ramando E. Stanley. Then, for whatever reason, Stanley ditched the bike and fled on foot, which generally isn't a faster way to make an escape, but whatever. Maybe he didn't have a helmet, you know? Safety first. Anyway, while police were dealing with the victims, another officer was dispatched to a report of a man matching Stanley's description who had broken into a business, taken an employee's cell phone, and struck that employee in the chest before fleeing. During the search, officers received a report that the same man was now on a roof throwing bricks, causing damage to several buildings. Crisis negotiators attempted to get Stanley to come down, but he refused. Stanley then tried to cross the street using telephone wires, because he apparently thinks like a 10-year-old. He's lucky those weren't power lines. But he couldn't make it, so he ended up dangling on them for about 45 minutes. Negotiators continued their efforts to bring him down safely, and a Vancouver fire engine was parked below to protect him if he fell. And seriously, what was his plan after 10 minutes of dangling on those lines? To wait the police out? 10 minutes is more than enough time to assess the situation and realize that you're going to fall, you know? Instead, he's hanging in there. Eventually, Stanley lost his grip and fell onto the fire engine. He was taken into custody and evaluated at a hospital before being booked into Clark County Jail on charges of robbery 2, theft 3, and malicious mischief. How about that one dude's neighbor though, right? That guy chased down someone that stole his neighbor's bike. We'd be like, sorry bro, some idiot stole your bike, but we're not taking a possible screwdriver to the neck to get it back for you. But that guy was out chasing him. Kudos to that neighbor. Number 4, going either way. In Sao Paulo, Brazil, a driver got the bright idea of using his bright green Lamborghini to chase down an armed robber who had just stolen his Rolex. The incident, captured on video, shows the lengths to which the driver went to retrieve his watch. We're gonna say this is a new flex for this guy to tell at a party to show the type of rich people problems he's having. As the Lamborghini waited at a red light, a motorbike pulled up. The thief, brandishing a firearm, demanded the driver's Rolex. After handing over the watch, the 64-year-old driver decided to take matters into his own hands. So he sped off after the fleeing robber, and to make matters worse, the robber was attempting an illegal turn. The footage showed the driver hitting the gas on his Lamborghini, then ultimately crashing into the motorbike and a pole. The impact sent the robber flying, but he quickly got back on his feet and ran away, leaving his motorbike behind. Onlookers rushed to assist the Lamborghini driver. Police arrived at the scene and recovered the suspect's motorbike, a mobile phone, and a .32 caliber firearm, which they used to ID the suspect. However, the Sao Paulo PD wasn't able to track him down, so at the time of this video, he's possibly making more illegal turns and robbing people with his injuries unknown. It's wild that this guy was willing to sacrifice a car that's worth that much to recover a far less expensive, but still expensive watch. But hey, sometimes it's the principle. It might work out for the guy though, depending on how insurance decided to cover the loss. It's either a super smart or super dumb move. Number 3, deep water. A driver in Texas put herself in a soggy situation when she attempted to drive her Nissan sedan through a flooded parking lot. The incident, recorded by a bystander, showed the woman's car being swept away by the floodwaters. This footage was later shared on YouTube by Storyful News and Weather, capturing dangerous and easily avoidable circumstances that unfolded. The video began with the person recording expressing concern about what the driver was clearly going to attempt. He wondered aloud if she would turn around or risk driving driving through the potentially deep puddle. And despite his warnings, the woman continued driving because no flood is going to tell her where she can drive. Of course, the car was quickly submerged and began to float because the puddle was far deeper than it appeared. The person recording was worried and started shouting, "What are you doing? You're literally driving right into it." Too bad she couldn't actually hear any of his actually helpful commentary. The flood waters had risen from a nearby creek, inundating the parking lot. The recording person yelled in desperation, urging the driver to stop. However, it was too late as the front of the Nissan became completely submerged and the car started floating away. Fortunately, the woman was rescued by a passerby who helped her out of the car. The person recording confirmed that the driver was okay as he captured the rescue efforts. The National Weather Service advises against driving through floodwaters due to hidden dangers such as debris, sharp objects, and possible contamination. Even 6 inches of water can cause a car to lose control, while a foot can float many vehicles. Basically, don't drive through water if you can't see the ground. Have you ever tried something like this? One of us on the Pablito's Way team back in their teenage years had a similar situation, but the car just got stuck in the mud with about 4 inches of water. Then someone called the news and said that the car was trapped in a flood and needed a rescue, so there were helicopters and police. Not gonna out who it was though. Tell us about your story in the comments below. Number 2, record and post. Javan Gomes from St. Petersburg, Florida, was arrested and charged after a series of reckless actions on his motorbike, which he then uploaded to social media. The charges included fleeing and eluding, which seems redundant, but okay, racing on the highway, and threatening a police officer. Gomes was seen riding a Suron electric motorbike, which is basically an electric dirt bike, dangerously through downtown St. Petersburg. He was popping wheelies, running red lights, cutting off cars, driving on sidewalks, and ignoring police attempts to pull him over. Due to city policy, officers didn't chase Gomes immediately, but instead investigated the incident in the following weeks. It seems like a weird policy to not pursue, since this guy was obviously posing a direct threat to the public, but whatever you say, St. Petersburg. Detectives found a video of the incident posted on YouTube titled "Cops Tried to Take Down Surin," recorded with a helmet camera. In the now deleted video, Gomes and another biker are seen performing wheelies through downtown. Gomes made comments like, "You can't catch me, you can't do anything about it," while riding circles around a police car. Because, taunting the police always makes them feel defeated and ready to just let people go, right? What a dope. Gomes' dumb decision to upload the video to YouTube ultimately led to his arrest, reminding everyone how stupid it is to publicly share evidence of criminal behavior. If you're gonna do a crime, and we know you're not the type, but if you had to do a crime, don't record it. And if you're enjoying this video, be sure to stay right here to find out how her dumb revenge plot went wrong. Number 1, pushing scams. Sky Wheatley, a popular internet personality with a significant following, got a bunch of people upset with her for recommending a fraudulent account to her giant following. The former winner of I'm a Celebrity Australia 2024, Sky publicly apologized on Instagram, expressing regret over the situation. But this wasn't the first time she was scammed. It was like the third. Sky Wheatley's mental misstep started when she recommended an account to her followers, which turned out to be a scam. She shared a message from a follower who fell victim to this scam, urging her fans to ignore her previous recommendation. Sky candidly admitted that she hadn't thought through her recommendation, blaming her impulsiveness on her ADHD. She explained that the account was suggested to her by a follower who claimed it could help restore her TikTok account, which had been taken down. Sky, hoping for a quick resolution, posted about the service without verifying its legitimacy. Oops. Obviously feeling bad, Sky shared a screenshot of the account, detailing how she fell for the scam. She also shared a message from a fan who disclosed that her boyfriend was another victim of the scam artist. Apologizing profusely, Sky expressed her guilt and disappointment for unintentionally leading others into a trap. She revealed she had paid $300 to the scammer, thinking they could help her. Sky's ordeal with the scam account followed a previous scam involving eye drops from Thailand. She had bought these drops to treat a benign eye condition called pinguicula, which is a harmless yellowish raised growth on the white part of the eye, but found them ineffective after using them for 5 months. Despite her attempts to contact the clinic, she received no response, leading her to suspect it was a scam. Sky's experience with bad decisions isn't new. In 2015, she underwent a botched surgery, also in Thailand, as part of a promotional deal with a medical tourism company. The surgery left her with a double bubble, a condition where the implant sits lower than where it's supposed to be. This forced her to get some corrective surgery years later. In her apology, Sky talked about the importance of doing thorough research before making recommendations or purchasing products online, something she should apparently be doing on her own. She used her past experiences as cautionary tales for her followers, urging them to avoid similar pitfalls. She doesn't sound like a great ambassador for Thailand, though, does she? As a reminder, though, don't ever just take an influencer's recommendations at face value. They're about as bought and paid for as you can get. These are the last people we thought would be doing crimes. Let's get right to it, starting with number 6, the mad girlfriend. Serena Wolf stole her boyfriend's credit card just to leave a $5,000 tip on her breakfast tab. You could probably have guessed why. The New York native was in Florida visiting her boyfriend, Michael Crane, when the couple had a fight about money. Crane and Wolf had the argument after she asked to use his credit card to buy a flight back to New York, but Crane refused. The little argument must have been pretty significant, though, because Crane put a hold on his credit account, worried that Wolf would try to use his card anyway. He did quickly lift it, though, probably thinking he was just overreacting. Wolf then treated herself to breakfast at the Clear Sky Cafe the next morning with his card she somehow nabbed. Although her meal cost $55.37, she decided to leave a $5,000 tip. When Crane noticed the charge on his card, he confronted Wolf, but she denied using it. So he called his credit card company to report the charge as fraudulent. In response, the credit card company contacted the restaurant to report the charge, but the establishment had already paid out the server, who was going through a hard time after her service dog passed away. So Crane filed a police report where he claimed Wolf may have been drunk at the time of the transaction and was trying to get back at him. She was arrested on a $2,000 bond. If we had to bet, we're pretty sure they broke up. Number 5, Hting Money. Former soccer star Richard Rufus, who played for Charlton Athletic, scammed friends and family out of millions of dollars in a Ponzi scheme to support his lavish lifestyle. Rufus stole roughly $19 million, but only $9 million ever went to his trading account, where he promised investors huge returns. He used the rest to either pay off other investors and for his own use. Rufus lived in a 5-bedroom house on a private estate, drove a Bentley, and wore a Rolex, all funded with investor money. Rufus portrayed himself as a successful foreign exchange trader who could generate significant profits in the currency markets. The heartless retired athlete targeted his own friends and family, luring them with promises of high-interest, low-risk investments with 60% returns annually. Rufus presented himself as such an expert on the topic that he had created his own trading style and methodology and said it was those factors that led to his success. He said that his ultimate goal was to create a legacy by helping others become wealthy. Rufus also told potential investors that major financial institutions like Barclays Bank, Coots Bank, and other soccer players had invested with him, but couldn't give details as the information was confidential. Former Chelsea defender Paul Elliott was on the board of Charlton Athletic's charitable trust, which Rufus became an ambassador for after a knee injury forced him into retirement. Elliott ended his own successful soccer career with a similar injury, so the two bonded and became friends. Elliott helped Rufus navigate life after soccer and learned about Rufus's trading methodology a few years into their friendship. It seemed Rufus was an expert in his field, having raised millions for his church and working with other soccer players. While he didn't give Elliott the names of any of his investors, he implied that Elliott would be familiar with them. Over the course of 3 years, Elliott gave Rufus $540,000, and he appeared to make a profit of $40,000 through his investment. But the money didn't come from trading. Rufus paid him him out using money from other investors in a classic pyramid scheme move. Construction engineer Vincent Nairn met Rufus when he renovated Rufus's home. The pair became close, and Rufus offered Nairn the opportunity to earn significant money by investing with him. Rufus explained that he spent a lot of time and money on training to be proficient in foreign exchange trading. He had become an expert in trading and made a lot of money for other people and companies. Since Rufus appeared to live a lavish and expensive lifestyle, Nairn was sold on the idea, so why not give it a shot? Nairn gave Rufus about $15,000 with the expectation that he would make roughly $536 a month on his investment. Rufus said the investment could yield roughly $7 million over 12 years and promised he would cover any of Nairn's losses. It sounded like a no-lose situation. But after the investment, Rufus confessed that he didn't have approval from the Financial Services Authority, known as the FSA, but claimed he could still trade while awaiting approval. However, his trading accounts were eventually frozen. He told Nairn he couldn't accept any more funds, claiming there were discrepancies with the trades that took place, but never gave any specific details. Rufus insisted Nairn would get his money back as long as he signed a document claiming that Rufus didn't owe him any money, which was certainly not a red flag. Nairn was putting down a new carpet in Rufus's home when the FSA turned up to repossess the property. After a brief trial, Rufus was found guilty of fraud, money laundering, and carrying out a regulated activity without authorization. He got 7.5 years. Rufus fooled a lot of people with his scam, probably after all those years honing his acting skills playing soccer. Number 4. Buy, sell fakes. Senior citizen Mayo Gilbert McNeil ripped off $800,000 from unsuspecting people by selling fake sports cards. Nobody expects to be scammed by a kind-looking old man, which was exactly how McNeil was able to do it. The 82-year-old senior citizen from Colorado lured sports trading enthusiasts through the internet and online selling platforms. He offered an impressive collection of trading cards, such as valuable 1986 Fleer Michael Jordan rookie cards. McNeil told buyers that the cards were graded by a professional authentication company, which they were not, mainly because they weren't real. Over 4 years, McNeil's victims spent hundreds of thousands of dollars buying the fake cards, some trading authentic cards for McNeil's fake ones. One victim spent $4,500 for one of the fake Michael Jordan cards, and another sent McNeil 2 authentic Tom Brady football cards in exchange for 2 fake Jordan ones. McNeil's scam operated nationwide until the FBI collaborated with the NYPD to bring him down. Authorities arrested McNeil in Denver and charged him with conspiracy to commit wire fraud. He's expected to be arraigned in New York City at a later date. Number 3. The German scam ist efficient, ja? Gerard Bauer allegedly stole money from his company to build a boutique winery farm and horse ranch on his Virginia property. The German national funneled over $4 million from his employer, which is believed to be industrial firm Frenzillet, as he was listed as the firm's U.S. subsidiary. Over 7 years, Bauer used corporate checks to pay for his personal expenses. He created fake invoices to make the transactions appear legitimate and business-related. Bauer took $1.5 million to fund the construction of his private enterprises, Goose Creek Farm and Otium Winery, and his horse ranch based in Purcellville, Virginia. Otium Cellars offers German and Austrian wines, and Bauer also used some of his company's funds to buy hundreds of bottles for the winery. New owners purchased the company a few years later and reimagined it as Otium Winery. Bauer's farm raised and sold Hanoverians, a horse breed that originated in Germany. On top of his business expenses, Bauer spent $146,416 for private school fees at Foxcroft School, a boarding school for girls. He also used $357,683 to pay off his credit card debt. Bauer was indicted on several charges, including mail fraud and embezzlement. He pleaded guilty to the embezzlement charges and faces a maximum of 20 years in prison. He probably should have just offered up the remaining business to his old bosses. If he just started sharing all the profits, he might have gotten away with it. Number 2. Prince Opal? Former high school principal Hilary French made fake expense claims so she could embezzle school funds. French worked at Newcastle High School for Girls, a private school in northern England, where tuition is $18,000 a year. French ran her scam for nearly 2 years. During that time, she submitted a series of expense claims for 65 gift cards from John Lewis, a British luxury department store. French said the gift cards were for gifts for coworkers, rewards for high-performing students, or thank you gifts for guest speakers. She claimed a total of $3,800 in expenses for the cards. Towards the end of her career at the school, she traveled to the city of Bath to support the school's hockey team during a competition. When she returned, French told the school she shared meals with former students who were either studying at Bath University or other nearby colleges and submitted $300 in claims for meal expenses. However, while she did travel to Bath, French didn't spend time with the hockey team or former students. The girls she claimed she spent time with all said they hadn't seen the principal since they graduated. The school found out about the scam when French accused somebody of stealing an expensive coat. She said she ordered a designer coat to be shipped to the school, which was delivered but immediately stolen. It costs around $300, and she submitted a claim for it. However, the police recovered the allegedly stolen item from French's trunk, which they searched after she made the allegations. She was arrested but denied any wrongdoing in her police interview. In court, she pleaded guilty to 3 counts of fraud. The Girls' Day School Trust, which governs her former employer, released a statement acknowledging her misuse of power. During her trial, the judge condemned her actions, tarnishing her long career as a teacher and role model. While French avoided jail time, she did receive a 6-month sentence, suspended for 1 year, and 150 hours of unpaid work. French also had to pay back a portion of money she stole. And who had that kind of relationship with their school principal where they would bump into you in a college and take you out to dinner? A teacher? Maybe, but a principal? Isn't it usually the kids in trouble all the time that knew the principal? Number 1. Happy landings. A group of flight attendants moonlighted as escorts and charged wealthy clients thousands of dollars for their services. Voi Tai Han, a flight attendant for Vietnam Airlines, oversaw the operation. She employed the women and negotiated with clients, offering them at the hotel for $1,000 to $3,000 a night. Han recruited attractive flight attendants and sent customers images of them in their uniforms. She contacted some of her former coworkers to offer them extra income during layovers in Vietnam and scouted local models. Han also posted pictures of herself on yachts and staying at luxury destinations around the world on social media. She shared images of herself working as a cabin crew for Vietnamese Airlines, where she welcomed customers and luxury guests. Although she appeared to be a flight attendant who enjoyed a jet-setting lifestyle, law enforcement believed her posts were a ruse to draw other women in to work on her scam. Once clients picked their favorite cabin crew member, they transferred money to Han, who would arrange the meeting between the men and women. Han employed at least 30 women, most of whom were flight attendants. The operation was lucrative, and Han was able to quit her job as a cabin crew member to run the ring full time. Over the course of a few months, she made roughly $42,000. Han charged clients a $290 booking fee plus $991 for a 90-minute session, or $2,972 for an overnight stay. Police raided a luxury hotel in Ho Chi Minh City where they discovered 3 flight attendants and 1 model spending time with different men. Officers arrested the women along with their Madam Han. There has to be a massage parlor joke somewhere in there, but we're not making it. Click to watch one of these next videos. Let us know in the comment section what you'd rather have free for a year: a housekeeper or a personal chef.